Tip number 152 from the book 501 Contractor Tips: credit cards. This can be your best friend or your worst nightmare. And I am here to tell you right now, if you have a problem managing money, you have a problem saving money, you have a problem figuring out where you spent the money, keeping track of everything, then you could actually have a problem with credit cards. It does not take long for some people to amass a small amount of debt or even a large amount of debt. I remember a guy that was 26 years old that we knew had like $170,000 in credit card debt, and he didn't own a house, lived with his parents. This just doesn't make any sense. How does this happen? I'll tell you how it happens sometimes. It's because you're not keeping track of anything. You go down there and you think, hey, I'm only going to spend $50 for dinner, and you end up spending $100, and you do this 20 times a month, you're going to have a problem. You know, if you're the kind of person you're the big shot, you want to be the big wheel, you go in there and pull out that credit card, this could be a problem. However, if you are somebody who does understand money management, you've got some skills, you understand what percentages are, you understand just how important 20% is, if this is what you owe on or what your credit card charges you, if you do not pay it off at the end of the month, then you will be able to manage your money a little better, and you will not be making the mistake of adding debt to this thing when you cannot afford to pay it off. So that could be the worst thing you could ever happen. I mean, actually, I had a credit card one time, maxed it out to $5,000. Obviously, I didn't do it. Somebody else did that was closely related to me. We are no longer together anymore, if you get the meaning. And that person, I left them in charge of paying the debt off. And after about 5 years, I ended up paying it off. This was after making minimum payments, and the minimum payments were over $100 a month. You can do the math on that. This $5,000 that was charged by somebody else who couldn't manage their money, by the way. And why should they, if I was going to pay it off anyway or continue to bail these people out? There's no need for them to. And really, this is the truth here. This individual never learned how to manage their money. And I want to say after about 10 years of me not taking care of this person, their lives, I mean, financially are just in shambles. So when I'm telling you right now that credit cards can be abused and they can ruin your life and put you in financial bondage that would just be hard to get out of in some cases, extreme financial bondage, and you're not paying attention, you're not getting it, feel free to rewind the video and watch it again. Watch more sections of this. This is in the banking and accounting section of this book. And again, some of these tips just might sound like, you know what, come on, that's common sense. Hey, it might be common sense to you, but it's not common sense to everybody. You know, a tip that you might listen to in this book, you might read it or watch a video, and you're thinking, God, that's so simple, or doesn't everybody know that, or that's really not a tip. Okay, I got you, but sometimes if it just affects that one person out of 100, I'm good with that. And this is what I'm trying to drive home right here. This isn't a 1 in 100. This is probably more like 80% of all the people I know can't manage money. And I'm not exaggerating, but the number's probably closer to 90 or 95% of the people I know. They just cannot manage their money. They cannot live on less money than they make. They want to go out and buy something that they don't have the money for. And then pretty soon, they owe a small fortune to a credit card. I mean, this is just what happens to most of us. So if you cannot get a grip on this, and you know you can't manage money, you're having a difficult time with it, if you do get a credit card, it doesn't take long, pretty soon it's maxed out, then don't go get another one. This might not be a good thing for you. However, If you need money to start a job and to stay in business and to get by in life, and you owe $2,000 on a credit card, and this is going to be your only choice, you're in between a rock and a hard spot. You're going to have to go get that other credit card. But don't do the same thing. Don't make the same mistakes. Maybe just use that credit card just for your business. And that's another tip too, is don't get a credit card for your business and try not to use it for your household expenses. Use it, keep them separate. It's even like me. I like to have a banking account for my business and a banking account for my personal stuff. I keep it separate. If you can do the same thing with a credit card, great. If you don't, just make sure you track all of your expenses. Don't get carried away. If you have a $10,000 limit on your credit card and at the end of the month you owe $5,000 on it and $1,000 of it is for your business, make sure you understand that. This $1,000 for my business, everything else is personal. If it's the opposite, you owe $4,000 for your business, $1,000 for personal, make sure you understand that. Don't mix the two together and say, hey, I spent $1,000 on materials, but realistically, when I went out to get a hamburger the other night and fill my truck up with gas, I was on my way to go get those materials. I'm going to count that as a business expense. Hey, if you can't use it as an expense, don't mix it in with your other expenses. It's kind of all I'm saying. And again, I don't want to get in too much of that because I've already talked about expenses and problems like that in previous videos. So I'm going to leave it at that. Remember, credit cards can ruin your life. They can just, if you don't know how to manage money, they can be your worst enemy. If you do know how to manage money, you understand the percentages these banks are charging, how they arrive at all these numbers that they are charging you, and you can use these to your advantage, great. If they're not working out, then you better rethink this whole thing, or go work for somebody else. Don't start your own business, because if you can't manage money, or you're not willing to learn how to manage your money, it's just going to be a nightmare from here on out.